Hello teachers, Irving Peralta here. This video is about the depth and complexity icon patterns. Patterns. We see patterns everywhere. Repetition, they're predictable, recurring events. What are the order events? Which elements came first? What predictions can you make? Patterns. Where do we see patterns? We see patterns in history, in science, in literature, in math. You see patterns everywhere. What is the pattern? If you want to make this personal, as you introduce the icon at the very beginning, boys and girls, what is your pattern whenever you're in the summer? How is it different whenever you go to school? You know, you wake up early during school time, you go to bed early during school time, but in the summer you probably have a very much different pattern. What about those of you who are in AVL? Your pattern is different from those of the students who are face-to-face instruction here in a physical building. So patterns are everywhere. You can find them, like I mentioned, you can find them in math. What patterns do you see in this fact family? This is a project that we were doing with the students. They were building their own bridge, so they had to make the patterns so that their bridge would work. Or just as simple as a student looking at her name, Isabella, and dividing her name into 8, because that's how many letters she has in her name, and she noticed the pattern in her name. Or as this teacher was teaching students how to skip count, again, that's a pattern. Skip counting by tens. Now this is probably my favorite part as teachers become more comfortable. This teacher gave the students a purpose for reading. Go outside and play is what they were reading, and inside of this story there are patterns. And the teacher said, boys and girls, before you are on your way to reading this passage, I want for you to look for patterns. What are some of the patterns that students have as they go out and play? Now students have a purpose for reading this passage, this story, this paragraph, this chapter, whatever it is that you give them. There are patterns everywhere. Remember, you've probably been doing this for a while now, but now that we are giving you, what we want to do is give you a visual so that when students are in science, when students are in language arts or social studies, you can put that icon on the board or just simply draw it by hand and say, boys and girls, let's focus on the patterning. And sometimes you don't even have to say it. You can just simply put the pattern icon on the board and the students already know, hey, I'm looking for patterns as I go through the lesson today. So this is the icon of patterns. We'll see you in the next video.